I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Hey, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and what a delight and very timely to have back with us today Jordan Sekulow. He is the Executive Director of the American Center for Law and Justice, and I can't say enough about what they do and the information they provide. You can go to aclj.org. That's their website, aclj.org, and certainly support their faith-based ministry, doing a great job. Jordan, good to see you. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm good, Perry. Thank you.
Yeah, well, a couple of things to get out of here real quickly. So what's the supposed December surprise from President Obama as it relates to Israel?
We are very worried that at the United Nations, the U.S. will not stop a call for Israel to give back Jerusalem to either an international entity, the Palestinians, and basically declare that Israel does not control, is not sovereign over Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem, which of course is so important, Perry, because that includes the specific holy sites to three major Judeo-Christian faiths. And I think Israel does a unique and incredible job at giving access to all those faiths. So you've got, for Muslims, the Dome of the Rock. And if you visit Israel, you will see Israel opens that area up for Muslims to visit and make sure they're able to visit peacefully, even during troubled times. They've secured that area, and they allowed that area to be controlled by Muslims on the top of the Dome of the Rock. Then you, of course, have got the Western Wall, which is so important to those of the Jewish faith of the Second Temple, and then you've got the church, which is so important for folks in the Christian faith as well. So when you put all of these sites together, you understand the significance of Jerusalem and the religious significance. But Perry, there's also a very real significance to Israel as a modern Jewish state. Jerusalem wasn't part of Israel in 1948. It became part of Israel after the country of Israel was attacked in the 1967 war. And after that attack, Israel was able to take Jerusalem. It was a war. They were defending. They were not the aggressors. But what happened was these Arab countries, specifically the Jordanians, so they walked right in. And since 1967, Jerusalem has been the capital of Israel. It's where Israel's government is based. But at the United Nations, the U.S. has always stood in the way, including the Obama administration, every year, of any kind of by the UN Security Council, which could be binding and involve sanctions, even potentially military action. I mean, at that level, this is not just a General Assembly resolution, Perry. This is serious, that the Obama administration could just stay silent. They don't have to necessarily vote yes, but if they don't veto and stand in the way, as they can, as being one of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, you could have a situation where the UN recognizes and instructs Israel that they no longer have sovereign control over the city of Jerusalem. That would be, again, a huge step against Israel. It would have big ramifications, and it would be difficult, not impossible, but difficult for the incoming Trump administration to reverse that, because it would happen at the international level, not just the United States. She'd have to convince the world again. And we know the U.S. is the one barrier to this happening, which is a scary thought. And it shows you the reality of Israel at the United Nations.
Could President-elect Trump say something before it happens?
I believe, Perry, in that meeting that President-elect Trump and President Obama had, that was supposed to be, as Donald Trump said, for about 15, 20 minutes, that lasted an hour and a half. These are the kind of issues that came up. For instance, the Obama administration has admitted just last week through their State Department, they were unable to get the Palestinians and the Israelis to the negotiating table. But President-elect Trump has said this would be the ultimate deal. He said it was very difficult, but he wants to give it a shot, as every U.S. presidential administration wants. This action by the U.S. would really prevent a President-elect Trump administration to even try and convince the Israelis and Palestinians to sit down and have these peace talks. If this was hanging over Israel, there would be no reason for Israel really to sit down and negotiate. Now, there's another move that the U.S. could take part in at the UN, which forces Israel to negotiate over giving away parts of Jerusalem as UN forced peace talks. Now, again, this can only happen at the Security Council level, and usually the United States has been a strong ally of Israel, even during the Obama administration. Even when I think they haven't wanted to necessarily, they have said no. They have vetoed these moves at the UN Security Council. We're very concerned, so we're watching closely that this could be the parting shot, if you will, of the Obama administration no longer holding back on how they really feel about the nation of Israel.
Two other possible parting shots. Could he, on his way out, appoint a Supreme Court justice?
People have talked about that. I mean, technically, you can make recess appointments. That person would be on and off in a matter of weeks, because once Congress was back, if there was an actual recess, then they would have to go through a nomination process. So it would not last very long. We'd be talking, I'm not even sure they would hear a case. And that's a big if, Perry, because one, the president would have to take that action, but two, Congress would have to go into recess. And the courts have been very clear that Congress can stay in session in a way that doesn't mean that they're fully active, but they can keep Congress in session, prevent these recess appointments if they so choose. With the Republican control of the House and the Senate, I expect that these leaders, I mean, it's their duty to do that. You wouldn't want to misstep here, but that for these remaining days of the Obama presidency on that issue, just keep Congress in session, even if it's a preliminary session, and make sure that you don't give that window for a potential recess appointment. Though, again, very little impact would be had.
All right, let's go over to the Electoral College, Jordan. There's now been some petitions filed or bills submitted to eliminate the Electoral College. You think that'll see the light of day?
I think this is sore losers. And I could imagine if things were the other way, that if Donald Trump had won more votes and not won the Electoral College, people may be upset about it and maybe questioning it. But the Electoral College is unique, Perry. It gives us a clear winner on the night of the election. And you have to campaign. And for the campaigns by state. For instance, if you just had a general election based off the votes, you could have multi-candidates, obviously, and people may not get the 51 or 50+1% they need to win a majority. Electoral College, you have to get to that 270, a majority of electors, which I think gives you a mandate and is a clear mandate as president of the United States. You could imagine if you just go into this normal kind of election where it's majority rule, one, the way campaigns operate would fundamentally change. The rules of the game would basically focus down on a handful of states. I mean, basically, you would campaign in New York, Florida, Texas, and California, pick a few other states for your campaign to really spend money in to find votes, and the rest of the country would basically be ignored. So while now we have gotten to a point where there's a handful of maybe a dozen to 20 states that get the most political attention, what we saw in this past election is that Donald Trump has changed the map again, and it's expanded. So we will see campaigning next time around in a larger swath of states, a larger group of states. And so I think that this is just sore losers on the Democrat side. If it was just about getting votes, and Donald Trump is absolutely correct, he could have gone and spent $5 million in California and found another 1 million or 2 million votes. I mean, that's just the truth. He didn't spend money there because it was clearly going to Hillary Clinton. She didn't spend money there either. And so the idea is that's not how you win the presidency. We can kind of ignore that. Each campaign knows the rules of the game. They're very clear what you have to do to become president and how you become president in the electoral process. The Democrats have no one to blame but themselves, their strategists, their campaign, and ultimately their candidate in Hillary Clinton.
Update us on ACLJ's lawsuit going after Loretta Lynch's secret meetings.
Sure, we've been filing, and we're continuing to follow up on these FOIA. First, we file a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request with various government agencies. And as usual with the Obama administration, which promised to be so transparent, finally, I think that's caught up to them with all of these scandals that have plagued administration officials, including Loretta Lynch and her meeting with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, the way the FBI conducted the investigation to Hillary Clinton, which finally, by the way, Democrats have also wised up to. It was just wrong. It was botched. We don't, at the ACLJ, believe that the FBI should be getting involved in our presidential elections days before with statements and retractions and back and forth. It just shows you how poorly run that has been. So these FOIA requests we file are to get info about discussions that were had, and then it turns into a lawsuit, Perry, for your audience. When they basically the 30 days comes, they may send a kind of response that's a formal response that says we're not going to answer these questions, or one that tries to answer. Most of the time, those don't satisfy even their basic legal requirements under the law for what they have to provide. So we're going to court over these, and it will be interesting to see. And I'm sure some of these officials are not happy about it because of how it can affect them in their future careers, Perry. But the Trump administration, of course, all these lawsuits will be active when they come into control of the Department of Justice. They can just settle them immediately by instructing these agencies to release all of the requested information. So I believe the American people are on the cusp of really, in these next few months, and once the Trump administration is settled in, because of the lawsuits that we filed now, because of the FOIA requests we filed over the last few months, that we will get the information that ultimately answers these questions about all of these federal agencies, the State Department and the genocide issue of Christians, the discussions on the IRS investigation of the Tea Party, and also when you go to the FBI investigation of Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. We're going to get more and more information. And of course, ultimately, we hope to see these agencies and different departments of the government greatly reformed.
Just about out of time here, Jordan. A couple quick questions. Who do you want to see as AG?
Yeah, I think Jeff Sessions would be a great pick. Senator Sessions, he definitely deserves it in the sense that he's been a long-term senator from Alabama, a great conservative. He has good relationships with both sides of the aisle. He also came out, you have to give him credit, very early. He was the first U.S. senator to endorse Donald Trump. So someone like that, his name, it's a good friend of ours. Obviously, Ted Cruz's name has been in the mix. Chris Kobach, the Secretary of State of Kansas. So far, all of the names that have been out there on Attorney General have been really great folks, Perry. And ultimately, it'd be Donald Trump will make that pick over the next coming weeks. He's not behind, as many people are trying to imply. But I think, we're going to know who these folks are in the coming weeks. And so far, when it comes to that specific office, we're pretty excited about the people that are being discussed.
One more quick question. You got a petition going to impeach James Comey. Can that happen?
Well, this is what Congress has stated now that the election is over, Perry, is that if Jim Comey does not resign or announce that he will resign when Donald Trump takes the oath of office, which he could do preemptively. He could do that now. Congress has said they will move forward on their impeachment. This was announced by Congressman Huelskamp and some other members of Congress just yesterday, that they will move forward with the impeachment of Jim Comey if he does not announce an upcoming retirement. Now, it's an interesting position because unlike other appointees, he does not just serve at the pleasure of the president. So a new FBI director would be appointed by President-elect Trump, but they then serve a 10-year term. So if he does not go, Congress is looking at forcing him out through, I think just starting these impeachment proceedings would probably push him out the door, and they're giving him an opportunity to step away right now.
Jordan, thank you for all you guys do back there. Keep up the good work, my friend. Again, aclj.org is the website. They do a terrific work. Support what they do. Thank you, friend. Let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Perry.
All right, God bless you. We'll be right back.